Wonderful. All right, thank you all for coming to the closing speeches of the 2022 election cycle. I know it's confusing that it's the 2022 cycle and 2022 is over now, but let's just say it's the elections for the 2023 to 2024 Board of Directors. So how this is going to go is we're going to go in reverse alphabetical order, both by position and by people's last name. So it'll be in the reverse order of what you saw on the opening speeches. Our quad director candidates are going to get 2 minutes each, which is double the time that they got for the opening speeches, and our officer candidates will also get double the time, so there'll be 4 minutes. And then we will just wrap up really quickly. I'll make any last notes about COP tomorrow, anything you need to know, and we will break for the night. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and begin. And as I start, please remember that those of you who are here, we're recording this right now, so make sure that you communicate that to your members, to any friends you have in COP that can't be here, that they should watch this video when it goes up on YouTube tonight, and it'll be up on the AIS YouTube page and also on the AIS website under the About tab, and you can click on 2022 elections and it'll be on that page. And that is also where the opening speeches are if you haven't seen those yet. So let me share my screen. And we will get started with the candidates for West Quad Director. So our 4 candidates for West Quad Director are Lucy Yang from Arizona State, Trevin Thompson from Washington State, Rebecca Hennings from Montana State, and James Armendariz from New School. And we are going to go ahead and start with Lucy Yang. So we will spotlight her. And as we get that figured out, candidates just know that I will be timing you. If you want to keep your own timer as well, that's totally fine. And I will pop back on. I'll spotlight myself when you have 10 seconds left. So that's about the time that you can start wrapping up your thoughts. And we will be fairly strict on time as we always are, but don't let that stress you out too much. I'm sure y'all will be great. So without further ado, Lucy, go right ahead.
Let's get it started, shall we? Okay. So early in September, our AIS chapter put on a mentorship event, and it was the very first event that I had put on as president. It was really, really nerve-wracking. We put a lot of work into it, and we had to collaborate with a lot of people. And as you know, there's a lot of things you can't really predict when you host an event. It was 30 minutes before, and things started going wrong. 1, our catering guy didn't come. The delivery guy was lost somewhere in the middle of the campus. 2, I was so nervous, I kept changing the script for my opening message. And 3, the room was super echoey. So our team tried to rally 70 people basically into a wooden box, and we could barely hear each other. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. And I tried to figure it out by myself. But my team came up to me like, hey, I'm going to go run and find that catering dude. And another teammate came up to you and was like, hey, read your opening message to me. It should be fine. And then I asked, what are we going to do about this sound? And we just kind of looked at each other and laughed. We'll just have to deal with it. And the event turned out amazing. Mentors loved it. Students loved it. We even got a few fellows to mentor students. And that was the first time that I truly realized that even leadership is something you can't do alone. In fact, you don't have to do anything alone, and that great things come from working with others. But I actually haven't thought about leadership like this before. I grew up in a very, very Asian household, and Chinese culture, independence is huge. I grew up thinking I needed to be perfect. That's impossible, by the way. But through AIS, I realized I don't have to. And as West Quad Director, I want to make sure that everyone knows that. In the same way that AIS has provided opportunities to build my confidence and skills throughout my growth, I want to spread the AIS platform to help people understand that we are here to support you and acknowledge that leadership is hard. Without the support of the team, the national board, I wouldn't even think about hosting a quad conference, but here I am. So make sure to go to your regional quad conferences. So everyone is a leader in their own life and choices. So I want to be here to give you multiple stepping stools so you can serve each other. Your team, your members, your national board, there are problems we need to solve, and it sometimes feels like you can't do anything about it. But I'm here to tell you that together, West Quad, we can solve problems, and I want to be there to support you in making life better for each other in architecture. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lucy. Wonderfully done. And we will go ahead and move on to our next candidate, and that is Trevin Thompson.
Awesome. Thanks, Scott. So I have to come clean. So originally, I wanted to run on providing each chapter a free pony. But then I ran the numbers, and turns out we can't quite afford that. So instead, I'll briefly share my story. My name is Trevin Thompson. I'm a 4th-year student and chapter president at Washington State University. I fell in love with the community that surrounds our architectural education in my first studio at the University of Washington in Seattle. It was in this studio that across from me, sat a 45-year-old lawyer considering a career change. And then to my left was a mother who's returning to school after her child graduated. Even though I was just a clueless 18-year-old kid, the three of us became the unlikeliest of great friends, spending those late nights in studio, brutally critiquing each other, and taking breaks from our work only to play our turn in a game of Monopoly. The value of these relationships and studio culture was made evident in the wake of the pandemic. We lost all semblance of that culture. When not at home or on Zoom, I found myself working alone in the massive and barren studios of Carpenter Hall. It was in response to this, my drive to mentorship, and a lot of convincing by my predecessors, that I came to lead my chapter. In addition to this role, my service to students continues as an unpaid teaching assistant, driven by a desire to help students succeed, which of course makes me a really cool TA. Although I didn't initially intend to hold either of these positions, I'm so thankful I listened to those who pushed me to lead. Both of these positions have given me the platform to reach all students, even those of interior design and landscape, to reestablish a culture that is almost inescapable. It was from within this now noisy architecture building in the middle of nowhere, Pullman, Washington, that I decided to run for West Quad director. I love the study of architecture. I love the community that surrounds it. And I would be honored to serve as the director for the quad that I love. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Trevin. Very well done. Yes, I'll just remind everybody real quickly to please stay muted. I think that we got that cough, but that would be helpful to all our candidates. All right, so next up, we'll go to Rebecca Hennings. Welcome her up to the stage. Rebecca, go ahead when you're ready.
Hello, I am very grateful for the opportunity to speak to you all right now and to stand in front of you to run for this position. I love the West Quad. It truly is the best quad. I've had the pleasure of meeting many of you either this weekend or during past events, and I'm looking forward to continuing to build those relationships. My goal for the next year is first and foremost to cross the distance between our chapters and build connections. I will strive to build upon the foundation that has already been laid and create opportunities for involvement at the chapter level and beyond. Continuing to utilize our digital platforms is critical to this, as we span several time zones and over 3,000 miles. Fostering communication between chapter leaders that are close to each other and have the opportunity to interact in person is also important. Creating a space to share the ideas and challenges that different chapters are having beyond just the pod calls is another way that I want to achieve this. I also want to increase the connection between the West Quad director and our members beyond just the chapter presidents. My goal is to create that connection so that all general members are aware of the support that they have from the national board. I want every member to know how to access that broader range of support directly. Bringing more awareness of the activities and opportunities of the national organization to general members is an important part of this. Outreach is the key to all of this. The previous goal also serves to aid in the development of tomorrow's leaders in the organization. The chance to grow as a leader myself through AIAS has been so incredible, and I am committed to give back and help those who will follow. Empowering more students to run for local and national positions, as well as serve on committees, is incredibly important to me. I'm filled with excitement about this organization and this wonderful quad, and I'm prepared to listen, learn, and work for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Great, y'all are doing great. Haven't had to cut anybody off or anything. Thank you all. Okay, so we will go now to our final candidate for the West Quad director position, and that is James Armendariz.
Thank you,
James,
Scott.
go ahead and get started.
Sweet. Thank you, Scott, for that wonderful introduction. You guys just heard the first three candidates talk about the amazing things that they plan to do with their chapter and the amazing experiences they have. I'm going to talk to you guys about some potatoes. So the potatoes background started with me as a bunch of AIAS friends back in high school as a joke. And I continue to have these potatoes as my background through every Zoom meeting I had when it came to going to the membership committee or the governance committee. I had these potatoes behind me during all of COVID, and I had these potatoes behind me when I first became a chapter president. These potatoes are how I landed my roots into the AIAS. As West Quad director, I know I can have those roots spread out to all the chapters across the coast and across the states. Sorry, I turned into a potato there for a second. I hope that my goals for the West Quad can help us push farther. When it comes to my goals, I want us to grow closer together. As this potatoes are in a pile, I want us to be like that as we can grow close, grow to help each other out, and grow to become stronger as an AIAS. Architecture is amazing, and the AIS is an absolutely amazing place. I've grown because of you guys, and I want to help you guys grow with me. I have a lot of experience through high school, community college, the military. I know I can be your guys' leader. When it comes to managing my time, I know I can make it work for all of us. Thank you guys for listening. Have a good one.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, so that wraps up our West Quad director candidates. So let's give all of them a round of applause. Yay, good job, everybody. Y'all did amazing. Okay, so we're gonna go to our next position, which is candidates for South Quad director. So we have Valerie Oloa from Clemson. We have Shobha Kumar. I always do that. Shobha Kumar from University of Texas at Arlington, and Michael Bungeling or Bungie from University of Memphis. Okay, so I will stop sharing before I announce the person this time. So South Quad director candidates, so take a deep breath, get ready. And so we will start with Valerie. Welcome to the stage. Get started when you're ready.
Awesome. So I'm Valerie Joa, fourth year architecture student from Clemson University, and I am a catalyst. If you are a chemist, a catalyst is a substance that reacts at a faster rate than something normally, but we are not chemists, we are architecture students. But I hope to be that catalyst for you as leaders, because leadership to me is the most important facet that we all can have. And anyone can be a leader, but it takes a very progressive and transformational leader to bring about the changes that we as architecture students need. And so I will do this by creating an effective leadership guide in which we can all pull in the resources. In these past meetings that we had today and yesterday, I found out like different ways in which leaders reach out and care for each individual. And that's what I mostly care about. One chapter leader went out to learn a new language, and that to me was so phenomenal. There's other leaders that are just like, we want better membership, we want more membership, we just want to be there for you guys. And so as South Quad director, I hope to be able to bring about that, to give everyone the resources and tactics that other chapters have built up themselves and spread them amongst each other, because that's how we build together. We're never in this by ourselves. And in Barcelona this past semester, that is something that I realized, that my chapter was there for me no matter what happened. And in all situations, we are all in this together. So thank you, everyone.
Wonderful, thank you, Valerie. Okay, next up, we will have Shilpa. Welcome to the stage, and I'll hop off here and get started when you're ready.
I hope everyone has had a wonderful governance weekend so far. I'd like to thank you all for being here and taking time out of your Saturday to listen to all of our wonderful candidates. Special thanks to those who provided me with the dedication and support. I truly would not have had the confidence to be here speaking today. As a former pandemic baby, the transition into the architecture world was really cultivated by the community and friendship I found in Arlington. I have always felt throughout my life that I was so privileged to have access to an educational path that I was passionate about. And with the knowledge that this isn't a choice for most people around the world, I feel like it's my duty to be a public servant and to do what I think is right. I can only hope to reciprocate the endless faith and support I was given by my friends in architecture and in AIAS. Seeing how vast and expansive this network of architecture students are, ranging from different states to countries, reflects this selfless attitude to better profession than what it is today. As your South Quad director, I will focus on catering to individual chapters and members, providing accessible information and resources, fostering connectivity, and bringing forth a retention of knowledge for our future members. AIAS stands for the crucibles of advocacy and the spark of change in our profession. It is so inspiring to see this generation of architects are so formidable in the face of exploitation, because we are not silent, we are not compliant, and we come with all the smoke. As your 2023-2024 South Quad director, I will advocate for our demands of equity, and I am so proud to stand and defend our students' power as designers, leaders, and most importantly, stewards of our people. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Shilpa. Okay. And lastly, in the South Quad group, we will have Michael Bungeling. Welcome to the stage. Sorry for the growling dog. Go ahead and get started whenever you're ready.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Bungeling, and many of you may know me as Bungie. I've previously talked about my main goal in my past speech about membership retention, but I want to elaborate as to why such a goal is important, not only for me, but for the AIS as well. While it's most definitely important for the AIS to have people that serve and advocate, we can't really do these things without the people to serve and advocate to carry out this objective. But obviously, like, how can we do this? Why is this important? Because it's through my own belief that meeting people, that we should meet people not only just halfway, but beyond that point within their own home court. It's truly the best way to keep people engaged with the AIS. My hopefulness in the organization is not rooted in the free pizza that was ever offered in the events, but it was more so rooted in the community that it provided. And especially this past grassroots, when all these people after reached out to me to be more as a friend rather than a figure, to be not just a number, but actually somebody that matters. And so being a person, I think it would be an amazing job to honestly just use these position as a means of bringing a community so much closer together. If you know me, I really love to get to know people and how everyone is. And so being that synthesizer is something that I look forward to if I was elected as your South Quad director. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. Sorry about the noises, but you're covered beautifully. So nice work. All right. So next up, we will go to our candidates for Northeast Quad Director. So for those, we have Nathan Roby from Marywood University and Jordan Luther from Carnegie Mellon. So we'll get started with Nathan Roby. Welcome to the stage, Nathan.
Thank you, Scott. Despite how chaotic these past 2 days have been, it's been a pleasure to chat with many of you, as well as simply be a part of these elections. I started my candidacy platform on a three-pronged approach, and while that has remained true, after talking with some amazing leaders like Quill, Sumant, and Margaret, I wanted to revise them regarding the feedback I got this weekend. Going into this year, I wanted to be as adaptable as possible, especially now that we'll be fully in person after this past few years. Firstly, I still want to meet as many of you as possible, not just on screen, but in person, face to face. Not only for a want of getting to know you, but to also engage with you and your members and create an excitement around the AIAS. Many students might not see why they should be a part of the AIAS, and I hope to change that by visiting you. In this position, I'm a friend to you all, and I'm here for when you need me. But just like that, you're here when I need you. Secondly, I want to help further educate the community about what we do as students and in the professional architecture. Through this advocacy, I hope you will see more of the public really connecting with you as you finish up your degrees. Lastly, I originally wanted to only create a leadership workshop, but after discussions this weekend, there are so many more workshops that you all want to be a part of, like portfolio reviews, internship help, and lessons in the Adobe suites and drafting softwares. And I'm just sitting here wondering why something simple like this is not already a part for our members. With the skills I've gained and continue to learn from my time in scouting and the history in AIAS, these goals are quite achievable and at a rapid time frame, I might add. While I'm unable to address every issue that you have expressed at this time, I plan on committing a focus to other issues that may arise, in addition to the financial barriers that a chapter may face, as well as how to increase membership. I'm always here for you, so I hope that you'll accept me as your next Northeast Quadrant Director. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. Great job. All right. So next up, we will go to Jordan Luther, our final candidate for the Northeast Quad Director position. Jordan, go ahead when you're ready.
Hello, everybody. The last time I spoke to you all, I emphasized the importance of one-on-one connections. Speaking to you all this weekend and at our hub hangouts, you've shown me your resilience. You've openly shared how you started your chapters, enabled them to thrive, faced obstacles, and succeeded along the way. You've reinstilled in me the importance of fostering a community and supporting our members to be resilient. You've also reshaped my understanding of being a mentor. After talking to you all, it has become apparent that a mentor does not have to be someone older or more experienced. Mentorship can be casual and can come from people of all levels in your community. It can be as simple as a few friends exchanging ideas and advice over coffee. Most importantly, you've reinforced that mentorship combined with resilience can allow for so much growth. Some of you might know that when I ran for this position 2 years ago. Although I was not elected at the time, I wouldn't trade those experiences for the world. During the election, I became great friends with so many of the candidates and members, many of whom I still talk to today. Little did I know that one of them would help guide my path to grad school, and eventually we became roommates too. Since then, I've taken on so many other roles in the AIS and at my school, and now I feel much more confident taking on this role. It helped me acknowledge that being a leader in the AIS is not in any way about winning or losing. It's about the journey we take and the community that helps us along the way. The reason I'm here today is because of you all. It's you who are the leaders, advocates, and mentors who created the space that fosters the incredible AIS community. Each conversation we've shared has meant so much to me and left me feeling empowered to take on any challenge. Talking to you reinforces how, as architects, being resilient and pushing boundaries is a part of our everyday work, but when we work together, our growth is enormous. It's an honor to continue to get to know you and build this wonderful community in any way I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. All right. Okay, so we're going to go to our last group of quad director candidates now, and that is our Midwest quad director candidates. So for those, we have Andrew Tillman from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, Liz Fracca from the University of Kansas, and Gwendolyn Darling from Kent State University. So we will begin with Andrew and welcome him to the stage. Andrew, you can get started whenever you're ready.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Andrew Tillman, and I'm from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. I don't want to keep reiterating too much. However, when I sat down to write this, I couldn't give a speech about wrapping up my candidacy without the word collaboration. This is the drive of my campaign, and is something I believe is the forefront of what I do and what is very important within AAS. During my time in AAS leadership, I've been on the top of many major collaborations at UWM. For example, I've started the first AAS coffee shop that formed the collaboration with other organizations to raise money for scholarships for underrepresented students in our community. In addition to this, I have collaborated with the AA Wisconsin component to continue the AA student membership for our chapter. Lastly, I collaborated with many local organizations to create an amazing program for the upcoming AAS Midwest Quad Conference. If I'm elected, I hope to bring more opportunities for all of us to collaborate together more often. Collaboration between chapters and quads can be a great way for us to form one big AAS unit that can accomplish anything we all desire. These collaborations will also keep us connected on a more regular basis, as opposed to just our scheduled AAS programming and meetings. I want you all to quickly imagine our quad and even our organization as if it was just one big chapter and we're all leading it together. We all play crucial roles in our organization, from being a member to being a chapter president and also being a national board member. This is why I plan on pushing everyone within the Midwest Quad to come to our monthly Heartland huddles. Not only is this a place for us to share ideas, but a place for us all to voice our opinions. I plan to lead our quad as if we were all a team on an equal level. I'll be your friend in addition to someone who can help you with your greatest endeavors. I'll give you opportunities for all of us to work together as a Midwest unit so we can all be on board taking on our biggest ambitions. I would like to end with just a quote from my Dean of Students. I've met a small percentage of inquisitive and engaged students as Andrew. I can say without a doubt that he's in the top 2% of students that I've had the pleasure to work with. I'm truly honored to have your support for this candidacy, and I want to thank you all for your time and thank you in advance for your vote. Let's make AAS more amazing, one collaboration at a time. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew. Wonderful. So next we will go to our next candidate, which is Liz Fracca. And I said Fracca before, and I'm sorry, that's not how you pronounce it. It is Liz Fracca. Welcome to the stage. You can get started whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I love getting to know as many of you as possible over the last few days. And if I haven't spoken to you yet, please still reach out. I've heard so much about your chapters, from your FBD projects to your cultures to your recovery from the pandemic and what you're looking for in your next quad director. Like I said in my first speech, the community of the AAS is really what makes this organization special. It is my ultimate goal that as quad director, I foster the community that we experience at conferences and make it a part of the culture of our quad. Community between our chapters will allow chapters to learn from and lean on each other and make personal connections between even more of our members. The Midwest is so diverse. We have areas of the quad where chapters are within a short drive of each other, as well as areas where the next chapter is several hours away. This means that a one-size-fits-all solution for community will not be effective. I'd like to create a chapter pen pal program where, as quad director, I would match interested chapters based on their preferences for what they want to connect over, whether that be prioritizing making friends that are easy to visit in person or having similar experiences at a chapter level. It is also within this community that we can work together to make changes in our academic experience and in the profession. I like to work with each chapter to reflect their learning and teaching culture and strategize ways to make positive changes. I strongly believe that if healthy habits are encouraged and fostered in schools, it will help the profession change as those students graduate and move into the workforce. You are valuable. Your time is valuable. The architecture profession does not have to be the cult that it has become. By working together, we can shift the narrative to be a culture that values the people who do the making just as much as we value the end product itself. Ultimately, it is you who will make the decision for the quad. Regardless of who you elect, the community at the AAS is what makes the quad into the incredible place that it is. I hope to help you, the community, to shape this quad into the best version of itself that we can be. I look forward to growing in community with you as your next Midwest Quad Director. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Liz. Okay, and we will go to our last candidate for Midwest Quad Director and our last Quad Director candidate, Gwendolyn Darling. Welcome to the stage, Gwendolyn, and you can get started whenever you're ready.
Hi, everyone. My name is Gwendolyn Darling, as Scott said. This year, I have had the honor of being the Kent State AIS chapter president. And as Midwest Quad Director, I hope to help chapter presidents transition into the role of leadership and give them the support necessary to lead their chapters with confidence. My goal is that all chapters in the Midwest will be proud of their progress by the end of the year and will inspire the next leaders of AIS to take on a position. Our meetings will be more than just progress reports. They'd be opportunities for new ideas, teamwork, and problem solving. The Heartland Hurdles, or huddles, I should say, should also be an opportunity to introduce chapters to each other beyond AIS and tell each other about their differences. Every university has a different educational background where architecture could be combined with interiors, fashion, engineering, you name it. We should learn about each other's perspectives and what they have to offer. Together, we can create a community between chapters where we can challenge and learn from one another to reach our greatest potential. I would also support AIS in its effort to bring back in-person conferences and create new partnerships with companies and organizations. At Kent State, we have found success in partnering with other student organizations, such as NOMAS, and I feel this could translate to the national level as well. We can use these partnerships to bring attention to AIS from a wider audience, boost revenue, and in turn, boost membership. Another major goal of mine is to introduce new methods of engagement with events held across the Midwest beyond our usual conferences. One of my suggestions for the Midwest this year was Construction, which is a local favorite at Kent State and is still ongoing. I hope to contribute more ideas like this to benefit our AIS community in the future. Thank you, and I hope you'll vote for me on Sunday.
Thank you. Wonderful. Okay, so that is the end of our quad director candidates. So let's give all of them a round of applause. They all did wonderful. Quad director candidates, take a deep breath. You're done. Everything's good. Officer candidates, take a deep breath. You got this. You're going to get started. So like I said, we will go to 4 minutes for the officer candidates. We have one candidate for each of those positions. Y'all like this calming tone that I've taken on that none of you have ever heard before? I'm liking it a lot. So starting out, we have our candidate for vice president, and that is Julia Andor. And she's from NYIT Long Island. And so I will welcome Julia to the stage. Julia, you have 4 minutes. You can get started whenever you're ready.
Awesome. Thank you, Scott. So hello, if you don't know me, I'm Julia Andor. If you do know me, you may know me as the person running unopposed to be the vice president of our great organization. Now, I've heard about the power of vulnerability to create connections, and I feel that it's only fair that if I ask you guys to share your hardships and your struggles with me, that I should be open to sharing mine with you. At a glance, running unopposed sounds like an ideal situation. But the truth is, it sows a seed of doubt into your confidence. This is something that I've been grappling with this week. How do I show that I'm capable without winning an election? The truth is, leadership isn't about winning. It's about doing what you love, doing what you believe in, and giving it all that you can. I promise you that as your vice president, I will fight for you every single day. In my time as Northeast Quad Director, I found joy in every interaction that I've had with chapter leaders and members. It is for this reason that I want to spend the next year focused on people-centered membership. Numbers are important, but nothing is more important than getting to know the people behind the screen. I want to elevate both the AIS and its members with understanding and with kindness. This week, you've probably heard me talk about how the roles of the vice president are related to membership and finance. So I'd like to elaborate on what those two things mean to me. As we start to imagine what our organization is like post-lockdown with increased staff capacity and with increased membership, I want to focus on you, on human scale interaction, and on empathy. I want to prioritize visiting your chapters, meeting your e-board, your members, and maybe even your school mascot. I aim to elevate and share your stories. I want to know why you are in the AIS. But it is impossible for us to talk about membership without talking about finance. I want our discussions of money to also follow us out of crisis mode, and I want us to think about how organizational financial security can allow us to uplift ourselves and others. Good financial health at both the chapter and national level will allow us to make the organization more accessible and ensure that our chapters have reliable support. The thread that holds all of this together is advocacy. None of this matters if we don't do the work to ensure that our members are happy and healthy. This means that we use our platform to facilitate discussions about learning and teaching culture, work-life balance, mental health, student debt, and so much more. This is what I refer to as advocacy for students. Fighting for our students on this structural level will make architecture school more accessible and create waves in the profession as we know it. It is unbelievably important that we uplift and empower our students so that they can uplift and empower themselves and others. This is what I call advocacy by students, and it is where our members fight for what they believe in, where you become the leaders that will fight injustice in the world. Overall, my goal is to ensure that you feel like you are a part of this organization, not just participating in it. I want to have more fireside chats, just like the one Colt and I hosted yesterday, to ensure that there is an open line of communication between our students and the national office. I aim to grow our community, prioritize inclusion, and work together to make it all happen. Please reach out if you want to chat more.
Awesome. Thank you, Julia. That was wonderfully done. Applause for Julia. Great work. All right. Last but not least, we will hear from our candidate for the position of national president, and that will be Colt Brock. And he's from the Georgia Institute of Technology. So Colt, I will welcome you to the stage, and I will hop off, and you have 4 minutes. Get started whenever you're ready.
Awesome. Can you hear me? I've been having lots of internet issues. Perfect. Hi, everyone. I hope you've all been enjoying Governance Weekend so far. In case we haven't had a chance to meet, my name is Colt Brock, and I'm honored to be up here giving my very last candidate speech ever, running to be your next AIS national president. This weekend has been extremely rewarding, being able to talk with all of you about your chapters, your personal leadership journeys, what Reese's peanut butter cup shape you prefer, but most importantly, what the AIS means to you. As president, one of the things I want to work on is addressing the barriers that prevent non-members from becoming members and keep our current members from getting a full AIS experience. As we re-entered the world of in-person conferences, it's become clear that conferences taking place in the same region each year actively exclude members from other more distant regions. Building on the framework and experiences that the board and national office staff are working on, I want to continue to decrease the barriers for planning and attending these conferences through extensive documentation and transparency, enabling chapters all across the world to feel comfortable and prepared to host regional conferences that by nature are more accessible to most members. Another barrier that exists for all of our members is the cost of our membership. While this is by no means a quick and easy thing to address, I intend to commit time working alongside our executive director and staff, our next vice president, and the rest of the 23-24 board to push forward the work actively being done on this topic. Bringing down what feels like an ever-rising bar and making this a space where one doesn't have to qualify financially is something that has long been a focus of mine. And I hope to use the position of president to take an active step forward and building upon the progress already made towards decreasing that cost for our members. Another idea I'd love to be able to spend some time focusing on is that of advocacy. And as I'm sure most of the candidates that have been asked this weekend, what does that really mean? As national president, I'll look at advocacy through two different lenses. The first lens is here at home within the AIAS. Using my position as president, I want to stay connected to each of you, our leaders and members. I want to hear the things you're going through, and I want to work with your directors and vice presidents to help you through your valleys and celebrate you at your peaks. I want to take the things that matter to each of you and use the time I'm given to work on providing answers, connecting you with those that can give you answers, and taking your concerns and wins to other organizations. The second lens is actually completely outside the AIS. As a member of the Alliance, we work closely with other major architectural organizations, and I plan to elevate the voices of all of you, our members, within those spaces, keeping the values and the passions that all of you have at the forefront of every conversation and every action they take within the Alliance and within their own respective organizations. The last thing I'll share with all of you is my commitment to making the AIS more resilient in our programming, resilient in our practices, and resilient at our chapters. When the world was upturned a few years ago, none of us really had any idea what was happening. And we all know the AIS was not, safe from that reality. And over the past few years, the AIS has found itself on the back foot, but the tireless work that was done by previous boards, our staff, executive directors, and the work that leaders like all of you continue to do at your chapters have allowed us to turn things around this year. We have built up some momentum this year, working towards positive trends in membership and engagement. And it finally feels like we have some room to breathe and focus on the future. And with the future in mind, I want to work with the rest of the organization to get us to a place where we never have to react to unforeseen situations, but have systems and resources in place so that we can respond effectively, not just at the national level, but for each chapter at the local level as well. I want to get our local leaders to a place where they don't feel like they're just surviving until the next problem, but are thriving, growing, and can fully commit to the experiences of their chapter members. This has been a blast to be able to run alongside these candidates and with this amazing board. And thank you everyone for attending this weekend. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Colt. Yes, applause. Great job, everybody. So that wraps up the closing speeches for our candidates for the 2023 through 2024 Board of Directors. Crazy as it is to say, they all did a wonderful job. They're all excellent. I can't imagine a world in which any of these candidates would be bad for the board. So you have a hard decision to make tomorrow, COP delegates. Like I said, please reach out to them if you want to hear more from any of them, if you want to clarify your decision or anything like that. Make sure you've heard from all of your candidates and they would love to hear from you tonight. Please don't bother them super late or super early as they have stuff to do, and that stuff is going to bed and drinking water, stuff like that. So without further ado, I will go ahead and let everybody go. Candidates, if you can stick around for just a couple minutes so I can give you some COP instructions, and then we will end the day. Thank you all for coming to Governance Weekend.